We're going to dive in right away with Grammy nominations. They are out, and we want to discuss the snubs, the surprises, all the things that we learned yesterday. So let us begin there, ladies.
Well, I think that the big story right now, especially, is the Weeknd getting completely shut out. I mean, when we talk about snubs, this has to rank as one of the biggest snubs of all award shows in recent years, maybe in a decade, because the album After Hours was a monster hit. Blinding Lights just set a record this week for being the song with the most weeks in the top 10 on Billboard. So the fact that none of the Weeknd's work was up for consideration, has been included, is shocking.
I mean, what I learned was the Grammys are who we thought they were. And I think that, you know, the Weeknd was very right to call them out, to say that we need transparency. When I was looking at, you know, what qualifies, who is in the decision-making process, at the beginning of this huge diagram that you will find on Grammys.com, it says that there are 350 experts that take part in the reviewing process. And so to me, it is shocking in this reviewing process that 350 experts, like Justin Bieber said, claimed that his album Changes was a pop album instead of an R&B album. And so I'm just wondering what is going on. Justin Bieber had come out and said also, like, guys, don't pigeonhole me. This was meant to be an R&B album, but it seems as though the Grammys tell artists who they are, and we can also say that it seems to tell them who they are based on the color of their skin. Justin Bieber, I guess, to them does not fall in the R&B category. But we should have known that this is how the Grammys carry on. We all know with the snub of Beyoncé, Adele. Beyoncé had the best album when it comes to Lemonade. Sure, she has the most nominations this year. But ladies, this is just like Leonardo DiCaprio winning for being attacked by a bear after so many stellar performances in years before, okay? They can keep it. They truly can keep it.
I just want to jump in though, Kayla. You mentioned Beyonce because that's what the headlines are, and so I don't think that people who really delve deep into this, appreciate that. Beyonce is leading with the most nominations, 9 this year, and she leads often. She actually holds the record for the most Grammy nominations by a female artist. But the thing is, there are 4 major categories for Grammys, like the big 4. Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Best New Artist. Beyonce, in her illustrious career, the artist that all other artists look to, has only won 1 of the big 4. That would be Song of the Year for Single Ladies. That is also shocking. So you have to put those nominations into context.
Yeah.
You know what, though? You're not the only ones, those artists and these, like, these irregularities. It's something I think we've been talking about for a few years, at least on this show. In fact, the New York Times wrote an article just this past January called "Can the Grammys Be Trusted?" And this was in light of the Deborah Duggan controversy. She was put in charge of the Grammys and the Academy because there was a lot of problems. And very quickly, she discovered major problems. Some of them are voting irregularities. She's found hefty payments, improbably hefty payments to lawyers that you could maybe buy your way into some of these nominations. There was a major laundry list that she discovered. Guess what? She was ousted out of her job real fast. And we know that young artists like Justin Bieber, Drake, even Frank Ocean, a lot of them have been distancing themselves from the Grammys for a while, not even submitting their music because of these problems. The Weeknd this year happens to be that artist, but Nicki Minaj, she's been yelling about this forever. And guess what? The nominations came out yesterday, and she quickly got onto Twitter, and this is what she said. P.S. Her new handle is @Mrs. Petty. She says, quote, "Never forget the Grammys didn't give me my Best New Artist award when I had 7 songs simultaneously charting on Billboard and bigger first week than any female rapper in the last decade. Went on to inspire a generation. They gave it to the white man, Bon Iver, #Pink Friday." So when you talk about the relevance, I think if you don't fix what's happening in that house, you are going to have many more of these artists even stop submitting their music altogether. So they got to be really careful about this because artists, they're seeing something is definitely amiss.
Yeah. I mean, we've always known awards are fraught, and we know the music industry is fraught. There was one small bit of, like, I feel like good news in the Grammys nomination story, which is that for the first time in awards history, the only female and female-fronted acts are nominated in the Best Rock Performance category. And that's remarkable on a number of levels. When I think even back growing up, rock gods all had guitars in their hands, and they were by and large men. It was like the guitar became an extension of their penises, quite frankly. And I remember looking as a girl growing up, like at these concert videos, like everyone from like Led Zeppelin, Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, like they were all male-fronted rock bands. And then inevitably you would see these legions of females, in varying states of dress in the front rows, just fawning over these guys. And that was sort of the message that you got growing up, that rock was not predominantly for women. And that's why Courtney Love was such a revelation when she came out in the 90s, with her guitar and her like leg up on her amp. She was just, fierce and proud. But remember, like, what people accused her of killing her husband for years, right? And ruining grunge music. So I think for years, many industries, rock, pop, country, to name a few, have really relegated female artists to not being meaningful, not being important. And I think there's still work to be done, obviously, though, in terms of representation. These are the nominees are predominantly cisgendered and they're white. So there's still a lot more work to be done, but that was a small glimmer of hope.
A lot of work
Just
needs to be done. Yeah, I think a lot of work, you're right, Cynthia, a lot of work needs to be done. And the most important reason is because the artists themselves actually do still want Grammys. I know what you said, Mel, about a lot of artists not submitting, and that is true. And yet The Weeknd did submit. Every artist that has been nominated submitted, and it means that the artists want to be recognized. Yes. I talked to Common last year. I asked Common what Grammys mean to him, and he was like, I would like to, and Oscars too. And he was like, it feels good. I think that's not why we do it, but it feels good. We want the credit. So I just want to show you a video yesterday of BTS's reaction to being the first Korean band to be nominated for a Grammy, and take a look at how they felt that moment.
India One Day by J Balvin, Dua Lipa, Bad Bunny, and Tiny. Intentions by Justin Bieber and Justin Bieber.
Listen, I love BTS, and I'm showing you that because I'm happy for them, but I actually am showing you that the real reason is because the Grammys, I don't know if they deserve that reaction today. And you want to earn it. Like, I want the Grammys to match up their recognition and their value with how much the artists want these trophies. And I don't think the connection is being made there right now, and I really hope they do some work.
But this is why, and I don't know anything about one Noah Cyrus, but watching her ball brought me some emotion because you do understand how much it means. But I think when it comes to Black culture, Black music, you look at the BET Awards and how artists have kind of been like, no, we're showing up for those awards because we see that we are finally getting recognized in our communities as opposed to the Grammys, who seem to always never give us our due. I think about, remember that year Macklemore beat out Kendrick Lamar, who clearly was the winner. Macklemore had texted him saying, you should have won. Well, you should have said that on stage when you got your Grammy. So I think, also it's on the onus of the winners to also hold the Academy, the Grammys accountable as well.
I want to end on a positive note. I had shouted out Kate Renata, an amazing Canadian artist that has been nominated for 3 awards. And even though one of those nominations is for Best New Artist, he's been on the scene for like years. And so even though I feel like the Academy is a little late to the party, I do want to shout out another Canadian artist who is getting recognition, especially in that category. And so even though The Weeknd has been snubbed, which is awful and it stinks, Kate Renata is an amazing artist. If you haven't heard his song Glow It Up with Anderson .Paak, do yourself a favor and listen to that. I'm absolutely rocking the scene. So a couple of bright spots there.